episode 003 of the Pocketnow U Review, the Hangout series from Pocketnow where we let you, the listeners, viewers, readers of Pocketnow, ask us questions and give us your opinion about the hottest and newest devices on the market. We've got some time to make up for since episode 2. It has, in fact, been 2 months since the last U Review episode, which is a pretty poor showing on our part, and we apologize. So today's devices number 3, in order to make it up to you. We've got the Nokia Lumia 1020, Google's Moto X, and the Sony Xperia Z Ultra. Only 2 of these devices. Well, the bonus, hold on, I'm going to introduce you, and then you can give me the bonus, because I still don't think I know what it is, because I only have 2 of these devices.
It's actually 2.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Well, if you don't know me, I'm Michael Fisher, editorial director of Pocketnow for new people in the room. And my co-host today, the Interruptus Maximus, Taylor Martin, the one bringing you the Z Ultra all the way from the Carolinas. How have you been this morning, and what fancy things have you brought us?
I've been great, and we need someone to mute their mic. I'm going to have to do it for them.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right. Yeah, they don't even have video. So anyway, yes, I have 2. I've lost all video feed too. I have 2 special devices that we're going to, I guess, open up the floor for as well. One is this baby right here, the Nvidia Shield, because I have had it for about a week now. And the other one that I've had for a little bit longer, the Nexus 7, not to be confused with the Xperia Z Ultra. So we have both of those.
Ridiculous in terms of the footprint on those. Yeah. I don't really want to necessarily talk all that much about the new Nexus 7. Like, it's not that it's old news or anything like that, but it's here in case you want to talk about it, in case you want to toss us a quick question. So since it's been a while, viewers, let me break the format down for the newbies, then we'll get down to business. Viewers have 5 minutes apiece to ask us questions about either of these devices. And at the end of their time, you need to give your own opinion numerically on each. We used to do thumbs up or thumbs down, but that didn't really mean anything. And since we give numeric scores on our reviews, it figures that maybe you guys should give numeric scores as well. So we're going to ask you for a 1 to 10 value on each device. At the end of the show, we'll tabulate the scores, and we'll get a rough picture of the Pocketnow readership's opinion on each of these devices. Now remember, folks, when we bring you on the air, your comment or question has to be related directly to one of these, I guess, 6 devices that we've got here? But really, one of these 3 devices that are in the headline. Lumia 1020, Moto X, and the Xperia Z Ultra. We want to keep discussion confined to those to keep things going. So, Taylor, I think the rules and regulations are out of the way. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. Sure.
Excellent.
Why not?
Good. Well, I'm going to kick things off by saying I'm very excited, and I'm going to ask Taylor Martin to choose the first respondent for episode 003 of the U Review. Taylor, go for it.
Okay. Wow. Wasn't expecting this. At least I have video feeds back.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
That's good. Let's go with Roel. Is that how it's pronounced?
Roel Van Eycken. Please unmute your mic there, put your headset on, and welcome to the U Review.
Hello.
Hello. I saw you had, what is that, a Lumia 920?
It's a 920, yes.
Yeah, nice.
Roel, where are you calling from today?
From Belgium.
Belgium, nice.
Oh, very nice. It is evening over there. Somewhat late, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Actually, I should be studying right now, but it is more interesting.
This is more fun, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Are you a student?
I'm trying to be one. Let's leave it at that.
Understood. Very well. Which device are you calling in about? What are you most excited about?
The Lumia 1020, of course. I own a 920, so.
Yes, indeed. And which shape? What color of the 920 do you have there? Is that in white?
I have a yellow one.
Oh, you have a yellow. We're yellow phone buddies. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Now, of course,
there's actually there's an interesting story to this.
Yeah.
I won this device.
You won it.
Nice.
Yeah. I didn't pay a thing for it, but I wanted it. I really wanted it. That's why I actually joined I joined in a contest on Facebook, and I won it.
Did you win it from Nokia or from another site? Or?
From Nokia. I got it directly from Nokia.
Wow,
Nice.
So they made kind of like an instant friend in you, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I was already their friend, but more.
Wow,
now.
that's great. How long ago was this? How long have you had it?
Half a year.
Cool.
No.
So you want it basically when it was released, almost, or shortly after?
No, February. From February.
Oh, all right. So it was like 4 months after. Well, jeez, God, time goes fast. Yeah. So the 1020 is, from the front side, of course, we're looking at the 920 again.
Yeah, we do. So my question is, does it feel like a 920 when you hold it?
So when you hold it, and Taylor can of course jump in on this as well. Like when you hold it, I just sold my 920 on eBay, so I don't have mine anymore. But when you hold this device, it looks from the front as though you have a 920 in your hand. It looks to everyone else like a 920. It feels nothing like the 920 in the hand.
Oh.
The 920, has that very nice boat-like feel, and it's well balanced and stuff like that. And the 1020, man, this thing, the camera housing, it doesn't look like much in photos. But when you're holding it in your hand, it doesn't quite feel right to hold it like this because you've got the cold feel of the camera housing on you. And so you kind of want to end up doing this. And so you're holding the phone quite high in your hand then. It's not the most comfortable phone I've ever held. I will say that. Taylor, do you agree here?
It takes a little getting used to. I actually hold mine and put my index finger above it. So it does get in the way. So when I was first trying to hold the phone, I was like, trying to figure out where to put my fingers because it was kind of getting in the way. But after you use it for a little while, you just kind of it's there, so you kind of forget about it. But it doesn't really get in the way. I never really had a 920. I was there for the launch event, and I couldn't touch it at the launch event. They were very adamant about not letting anybody get near them.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. I did though. I got a little time with it that I wasn't supposed to get, but I didn't really get enough a feel for it, but I don't know.
What I will say is that because every finish of the 1020 is in matte, it helps a bit. I mean, your yellow 920 there is glossy, and so it couldn't be a more different feel if you tried. I mean, it's so smooth, and it really is wonderful. Yeah.
I held 800 Lumia 800 phones in the past, and my brother has a 620, a matte finish. It feels completely different.
Oh, really? The 620? That's nice. And
it makes like if you, I don't know if you can hear that. It makes a weird noise. Like it sounds and feels weird.
Yeah. It definitely. I don't know if it's like. I think futuristic is probably the right term. It feels.
Who muted? You got muted, Michael. Someone muted you.
Yeah, that wasn't very nice of anyone. But yeah, so it definitely feels futuristic, which I really like. Do you have any other before we monopolize all of your slot by talking? Do you have any other things you want to know about the 1020?
Yeah. You have the buttons here on the side and the camera bezel here. They're zirconium. It feels kind of nice. It doesn't scratch at all. But the material on the 1020 is actually a different one. Is it as premium looking and does it feel as premium as this does? Or?
Yeah, I remember that. Now, I was always calling the Lumia 920 buttons ceramic. Is it some kind of...
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So that was one of the first things I noticed when I unpacked the box, of how different the buttons feel. They don't feel at all like plastic on the 1020. Like they actually do feel like quite high quality. But you know that on the 920 they're kind of glossy. They're shiny a bit.
Yeah, they are.
And of course the camera bezel is as well. I mean, these are all aluminum, and they're all matte. They're not a matte finish, but they're I don't know if it's like a vapor deposition or how they do the coloring here on the black, but it feels and looks very premium when you do put your fingers on the camera module. If you want to do that, it is definitely cool to the touch.
Yeah, and it feels like anodized aluminum.
Yeah. I wish I could get like a macro shot of the material here with like a microscope or something like that, because it's not quite like sandpaper. It's nothing like that, but it's definitely not in the least bit glossy, but it does feel very good. In brief, the buttons still have very nice travel. They're very very responsive physically. So I don't miss the 920's buttons, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. Well, now moving on to the camera, of course, the main selling point of this phone.
Yes.
Well, the Pro camera application. How does that work? Does it work good? Is it better than the original application? Because I've heard it is a little bit slower than it used to be, actually, in taking pictures and...
Yeah, no question. This takes an awful lot of time. Right, Taylor, I mean, you and I are on the same page on this, right?
Yeah, and it's because you're using a 41 megapixel sensor, and it takes a minute to fire up. It's like you have to hand crank it to get it to open, and
yeah, like if you actually want to see what the load time is, I mean, we'll do a little press here. Like here we go. I'm gonna do 3, 2, 1. I'm pressing and holding, and we're waiting for boot. And now the camera app starts, and the camera is ready, and there we are. And also with the latest, yeah, it's not a bad time. You're right. I'm gonna do that. What's nice though. What was nice is that it actually, once it started up, it was there. But then Nokia updated the app, presumably to increase its stability, and now, like, for the first 10 seconds the app is up, it's actually a little laggy. I don't know what they did to it, but it's definitely a much slower camera. The plus side, though, is that you're no longer stuck in the Windows Phone default shooting app, which is just so hamstrung and featureless, that I think it's... I mean, Taylor, do you agree that the Pro Camera app is basically the best thing ever?
Oh, yeah. Manual focus on a smartphone is awesome.
Yeah.
Brandon was...
Exposure time, or shutter speed, rather?
Yeah, Brandon was messaging me while we were recording the podcast, and he's like, do you leave all your settings on auto, or do you switch them to manual and all this other stuff? And I said, if you're having trouble locking focus on something up close, use the manual focus and it'll lock. Where you can't normally focus with auto. So there are a lot of things you can't do with automated software that you can do with this, even with third-party apps and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Is it Roel or is it Roll? How do you pronounce
Rule.
it?
It's
Rule. Yeah. Rule. When you get the 920, when you get the Pro Camera app on the 920, I think you're really going to enjoy it.
I think so
a lot
too.
of fun. Yeah. So we do have to move on. I do want to ask you for your to cast your numeric vote on behalf of the 1020 based on what you know about it, based on 1 to 10, what you've read so far, and your personal feelings. Where would you put it?
I'd put it at an 8.5.
That's an 8.5 on the 1020.
Because actually, if I may elaborate.
Yes.
Because I like Lumia as a Nokia in general. Windows Phone is a good operating system, and Nokia I made the right choice going with it. And the 1020 is the next step in also with the imaging and what Nokia is good at. But also, I would have given it a higher score if it had if Windows Phone supported higher specs. I know it's an old story and actually a bit of a stupid one, because specs don't always compare to actual user experience. I actually speed tested my 920 with a store unit Galaxy S4, and it didn't feel particularly faster.
Yeah. It definitely. I understand. Yeah, it's impossible to look at the 1020 without saying, yeah, these are a lot of the specs we've seen before, even though the experience is quite excellent.
Actually, it's Microsoft's fault. It's in nowhere Nokia's fault.
It's true. Well, Rule, thank you so much for joining us for the U Review. We really appreciate you coming on the air and talking Lumia 1020 with us, and we will hopefully see you on the next one.
I hope so too. I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Likewise.
We will ask you I didn't mention this in the intro, folks. We will ask you to please drop off the live show. We're gonna have to mute your mic there, Pablo. And please, once we're through, if we could ask you to make room for somebody else by dropping off the air.
Okay.
Rule, once again, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
My pleasure.
All right, Taylor, you got that score down?
Yep, 8.5 on the 1020.
You're the best co-host ever. I think it's time for me to choose somebody, isn't it?
It is.
I want to talk to Benjamin over there. No sense waiting on this and making a big dramatic production. Let's just get Benjamin to unmute his mic and say hello. Welcome to the U Review.
Hello, Michael Fisher and Taylor Martin.
No muting us anymore.
Yeah, sorry. I was messing around with stuff and whatever.
Yeah, Hangouts could use a little bit of a UI streamlining. It's no problem.
Yeah, you almost need like an administrator actions for it, so nobody can do that. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the U Review at any rate. And what device are you calling it? First of all, where are you calling in from? Sorry.
In from Denver.
That's right. We've spoken before. I remember.
Yeah.
What device is most tickling your fancy today?
Well, this is probably not mostly for me, but just thinking about devices in general, it'd have to be the Moto X.
Yes.
Being a fan of Google, as you can kind of tell. So,
you wore the colors today, yes.
Yeah, I wore the colors today, just for you guys.
Nice.
No, not really. Just for the fact that, you know, with Motorola and Google kind of putting out a device that's nowhere close to top of the line specs, but specs that are good enough for what sounds like really great battery life. And like in Michael's review when he talked about, it feels really nice. You can throw it in your pocket with your keys and your change. You don't really have to worry about it. Kind of looking for something that's just really a quality piece that's mass-produced, that has a couple nice software features, not so much gimmicky as much as I think Samsung's can be, even though some of them are helpful. But some stuff that I think more general people could use, or people that are new to smartphones or things like that. Do you kind of agree with that? What do you think?
Completely. And you know, I've got the X here, and you know, I'm gonna go ahead and lock the camera on myself here so I can just kind of spin it around and talk about it for a second. I mean, you're absolutely right. The feature set, I'll talk about that in a second, but just the physical build here, you know, this is the most boring one you can get. This is the black one, and it's got no customization in terms of color, and I mean, you know, the buttons are chrome. Whoop-de-doo. We're gonna get a custom build here. Motorola has actually. I think we have maybe 2 more coming, and we'll be able to see the different colors and see what's up. But the thing is, the minute you take this thing out of the box, this is me talking, and maybe it's because it resembles a pre-plus from back in the day. I don't know. You can feel totally natural just putting it in your pocket, throwing it on your couch, just tossing it around like it's a phone you've been carrying for months, because it feels so natural in the hand. The soft touch that's not quite soft touch, the little dimple around back for putting your finger there up against your head. I mean, it's not flashy. It's not trying to outcool everybody, but it is a really, really nicely designed phone, and physically, I adore it.
Right.
And then the feature set as well. I mean, you know, you're talking Samsung level of feature spam is not what we're seeing here at all.
No, absolutely. It's just kind of little things that are, you know, kind of helpful. Being able to lay in bed, ask what using Google Now and stuff like that. I could just see something where that's a lot easier for somebody new to it, or just wants something that's straightforward, and they're not looking for top of the line specs. And like you said, it's you know, a lot of smartphones nowadays, they feel so fragile, like you have to hold it really tightly when you put it in your pocket, and then you're worried about sitting down because it's going to poke you in the side, or you're going to sit on the back. Like my buddy who had a Note 2, he was always worried about you know, folding the thing in half when he would sit down with it in his pocket. But
yep. And well, I think Taylor Martin knows something about uncomfortable phones in the pocket, right?
Yeah, this thing, it's glass on the front and back, and I feel like anything and everything I do with it, just sitting it on the table, I'm sitting it down on the foam that I have for my mic, or just sitting it on other devices, so I'm not just destroying it.
Right. Because you're babysitting it, right? I mean, so many devices are built this way, and you know what? I mean, I'm not going to go out here and say that that's stupid and people shouldn't do that, because really, the HTC One is one of those devices I baby, and I think it deserves the babying because it's a beautiful build. But there's no getting around it. It's so refreshing to be able to carry something like this, where it's like, oh man, it's on the floor. Because who cares? Because it's going to be able to deal with it, and it's not going to look like crap after falling once or twice. I'm going to go get it.
Well, that's the whole thing, and that's what I think they nailed on the build, was something that when people grab it, you know, they look at when they have that and I don't know, HTC One, you know, side by side, they can say, all right, hold this one and hold this one. Which one, you know, feels more fragile?
Right.
Or you know, which one feels, you know, display and all that stuff. You know, when it gets up to that specs, you're really not making that much of a difference. I mean, a 1080p display, 720p display. If you can make out the difference, great. But honestly, it really doesn't make that much of a difference.
You
honestly.
are spot on. The people, you know, most important people in tech are the people in the comment sections who tell me that I'm an idiot because this 20p display is just so yesterday. It just looks so nasty. It's like, no, that's not true at all.
Right.
It'll look nasty, but I can see the difference.
Well,
but that difference is
so... I'm not saying I can't see the difference. When the DNA came out, I think you and I were both there, and it was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. I thought a 1080p screen was going to be nothing, but no, this really is legitimately better. No, it's better. There's no getting around it.
It's better, but it's
But if you're not
negligibly
looking
so.
for it, you're not going to see the difference. If you're a mass market consumer to whom
Right.
this device is targeted, you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
90% of your
that was
use
gonna be my
cases, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Taylor. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, it's okay. I interrupt plenty of other people. But yeah, 90% of your use cases, you're never going to notice the improvements from a 1080p display. If anything, it's detrimental to the performance because you're pushing more pixels. But the only time it ever really matters is if you're watching a movie or playing a game. You get better graphics, and that's a very small percentage of my use, at least.
We're gonna have to move on here, Benjamin. We love talking to you. Do you have a final question or anything that we didn't get to before I ask for your score?
Oh, just kind of talking in general. There was an article that came out. I don't know if it was by one of you. I don't think it was, but it was just talking about, there's a difference in smartphones these days. You have ones that are for tech geeks. They want the 2.3 Snapdragon 800 in a cell phone, or you have the people that just want something that feels good in the hand and that can make a call. Like, my wife, I ask her, what do you want? Do you want this with this spec? She's like, I don't care. I just want it to work. But I refuse to get her an iPhone. But other than that, but pretty much how it's split up to is just the phones that are built for the tech geeks and the phones that are built for the masses. And I think, even though I haven't held one, I haven't reviewed one, just watching and looking at all the reviews and watching your review, Michael, and stuff, just seems like they really nailed it with the Moto X. And hopefully one day maybe pick that one up. I'm not really concerned about the customability, just kind of, that with what they built it for, I really think they nailed it.
And I think there's no question about it. I completely agree, and it's good to know you and I are in agreement there. This is the phone that is built for, it sounds like, your wife.
The everyman.
The every person. And I think if Google puts the ad push behind it that we've heard they're going to, I think it'll do very well. So But I will ask for your score, though. I don't want to let you off the hook.
Well, I think in the aspect of what I just talked about, with it being produced for the mass market and getting it's not for the tech geeks, I think it's a 9.
A 9. I like it. Benjamin, I like you because you qualify your remarks so that you can take some of the heat off yourself in the comments. I like that. It shows a tactical mind. It's good strategic work. No, really, a 9 out of 10. That is a solid score, and I'm sure we will have others. Benjamin, really, thank you for calling in again. We love talking to you, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, thank you all. Take care and keep doing what you guys do. You keep me entertained for sure.
We'll keep trying. You keep watching. Thanks a lot, man.
Yep. See you guys.
Take care.
Well, Taylor, you got that score down? 9 out of 10 for the Moto X?
Yeah, 9.
Excellent. We're getting some real work done here, people. This is nice. I like this.
Yeah. So what are we doing? Are we averaging these at the end?
I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. We're flying by the seat of our pants. We're rogues, dude. It's Friday.
All right.
What we want.
We're crazy. It's crazy.
Taylor, it is your turn to select the next participant.
All right. I'm so bad with names. I'm so bad.
You're not as bad as I. You can take comfort from the fact that I will always be worse than you at pronunciation.
All right. Okay. Is it Gesh? Gesh? Jer? I don't know how to pronounce your last name or your first name, for that matter.
Yeah. I had forgotten too. We've spoken before. Bring your microphone off and tell us how wrong we are, or back on, and tell us how wrong we are on your pronunciation there.
No, it's all right. I wanted to change this for a while, but I haven't gotten to it.
Well, how's it pronounced now? Just so we can call you.
It's you're pronouncing it well, but I'm looking to change it since it's so awkward for people to say.
Understood. Well, we will just say hello and welcome to the U Review again. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Guess
so
what? Go ahead, Taylor. Sorry.
Whoa.
No. You do it.
Backing off. All right. So what device are you here to ask us about today?
I was interested in the Lumia. I recently sold my HTC Titan. That was a Windows Phone 7.8 device, and I was really interested in getting a Windows 8 device. And I saw your review from the A10s, the Samsung. So I decided to get it, and I've been really impressed with Windows Phone 8 so far.
Good. See, I was very terrified for a second. I thought that sentence was going to go. I saw your review for the TVS and I bought it and I hated it. And why did you score it so high? So,
No.
I happen to have that device.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
Has the TVS. There it is. That is the very unit we reviewed. Yeah. So, guess you still like the TVS? It's treating you well?
Yeah, it's because I was playing around like on my job with a Lumia 920 a while back, and I pitted it against an S4, and I don't know. It's even though it's dual core, it's just so fast and smooth. Like if you compare it to any Android phone.
Yeah, well, that's Windows Phone 8 for you. Unless you've got something really wrong with the hardware, it's going to be smooth no matter what. So it's I neglected to ask you, where are you calling in from?
Holland.
From Holland. Okay.
Yeah.
Holland. Yeah. So we're hitting all four corners of the world today.
That's right. Yeah. That's why I love these things. So, Gesh, you are thinking of jumping to the 1020. Sorry, I don't mean to burn your 5 minutes here.
Yeah, like of course I just purchased it at TVS, so I'm probably gonna get one of the Lumias when it gets a little cheaper. I just wanted to know, does the extra 2 GB of RAM, which it has, does that make any difference in speed compared to other?
So why don't I'll jump in and then I'll ask Taylor.
Phone 8 devices.
I'll ask Taylor if he agrees or disagrees with me here. The 2 gigs of RAM on the 1020 provide almost no difference in day-to-day responsiveness. Where it really assists, I think, is in the ProCam app, which is a very, very, very heavy title. And we were doing. I think you were here for the test, but if I can go ahead and lock the camera on me there, yeah, like press and hold on the button. We wait for the app to load. Finally, the camera module is ready, and here we are. And now we can take our shot. And then in between shots, it's saving a 34 megapixel and a 5 megapixel, so it takes some time. Now we're ready to shoot again. And with the UI elements the way they are, with just how heavy this app is, I think this combined with the gallery, the smart camera, all that kind of stuff, I think that's why they threw the 2 gigs in. It's not for day-to-day responsiveness. I mean, it feels like a 920 in normal use. It feels like an TVS. It feels like any other Windows Phone 8 device.
All right.
Yeah. The only other, I guess, benefit from having an additional gig of RAM is the ability to have more apps in memory, obviously. But I haven't really noticed any sort of improvement there from any Windows devices with 1 gig.
Yeah, because there's a hard stop, isn't there? Like in the multitasking launcher, there's up to 5 cards, isn't that right, or something?
Yeah, so you don't get a huge boost in anything from that. And if you back out of an app, if you hit the Windows key, it's going to close it anyway.
Well, the back key, there used to be, it used to be easy, or it used to be complicated, but I understood it. Like in Windows Phone 7, the back key would close the app, the home button would suspend it, and then they would just cancel it. But now the behavior is different now, and I must admit I don't fully understand it, because I don't need to, as just putting my regular user hat on, because Windows Phone 8 works seamlessly enough most of the time. Yeah. I don't need to understand the multitasking. I wish I had more cards in the multitasking view, but anyway. Yeah, so to answer your question, Gesh, it's just like another Windows Phone device in that regard.
I've been back on. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like how big are the? Sorry. How big are the images that are stored? Like there's 2 files, right? Like the small one and the big one, like 34 megapixels. Like how does that fill up the internal memory? Because it does not have any expansion, right?
The smaller images, the 5.3 megapixel images, are about 1 to 2 megabytes. I'd say your most elaborate pictures on your 5 megapixels are going to be about 2 megabytes, if not a little bit over that. The 34 megapixel images are going to be about 9 to, I've seen, upwards of 12. So it just depends on what's in the shot, but it does get pretty large, up to 12.
Yeah, you definitely
12 megabytes per image.
Like aggressively manage your gallery. Like I go in every now and then, and I will tap a bunch of photos that I don't want, and I'll just get them out of there. You can use the Windows Phone software to do it with a cable and stuff like that, but I don't like doing that often. But you really want to keep an eye on that, because on the review unit I had, it just, oh my God, I didn't fill it up, but I probably was pushing 25 to 30% of total memory consumed just by pictures after a week. Of course, I was taking like 100 photos a day, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to go look in mine, because I haven't really deleted much of anything.
Yeah. So I guess, and you're right that it's not expandable. You want to make pretty liberal use of your SkyDrive account and that kind of stuff to make sure that you don't fill up the phone with everything. So I wish there was a 64 gig version, but I think that's going to be exclusive to Telefonica. If I'm not mistaken.
I've used about a third of my storage. I'm at 10 gigabytes used of 30.
Yeah.
So and I have deleted some pictures.
Yeah.
Just because I'll sit outside or at night and I'll sit there and tweak exposure times and all kinds of stuff.
I've got whole rows in my gallery where there's like 18 photos to get one okay one because I've had to play around so much. But yeah. Gesh, before we ask for your score, any final questions on the 1020 that might interest you?
Well, I think I'm pretty well informed. I don't know if I can do that, but I also wanted to ask one question about the Z Ultra's display.
Sure.
Because I also own an Xperia Z myself. The screen has been improved, but I heard that the new Z Ultra has some kind of luminous technology or something for the screen.
Yeah, so it's improved. I can't do a direct comparison because it's been months since I reviewed the Xperia Z, and all I really remember about that phone was contrast was really low. And viewing angles were absolutely horrible. You hold the phone at any sort of angle and it just turns white. So and you get the same effect on the tablet Z. It's got pretty terrible viewing angles, and this one is not that much better. It's a little better. I can hold it and I can see. I mean, the viewing angles are better, but you can definitely you definitely lose visibility. When you angle it, but other than that, the display is better. This one is the HSPA Plus model, so it is running with the Mobile Bravia Engine 2 instead of the X Reality technology. So the software update should not. It probably won't arrive before I have to get rid of the phone. So I don't know if that will change anything. Reality. Yeah. So the phone, as it is, the display is just as great as the Xperia Z's display in all the good areas, because that display had good color reproduction with the Mobile Bravia Engine 2, and it was bright and it was crisp. This one is about the same, so it's not a huge improvement.
Gesh, since we just touched on the Xperia Z Ultra, we'll stay confined to the 1020 and ask you for your final score before we kick you out the door. With thanks.
Yeah. Final score, that's hard. I think based on my experience with Windows Phone 8, just how well it performs, plus the added value of the best camera you can get on the phone, I think I would give it a 9 out of 10, simply because I think it's the most powerful Windows phone you can buy right now.
Yes, indeed. I don't think you'll find anyone who'll dispute that unless they really need a removable battery or micro SD, and then they've got your phone. And certainly you can't dispute on the camera. So 9 out of 10 is only a tenth of a point away from what I gave it, so I have no choice but to tip my hat to you, sir.
All right.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and it was good to see you again. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Absolutely, man. Have a great night, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, keep doing what you're doing, man. All right. Bye.
Absolutely.
All right, so I think it is my turn to select somebody, and boy, the timing could not have been worse. I wonder if I'm kind of looking at the ribbon down below here, and so for the first half of the show, basically, down in the ribbon was an old friend of mine, and I wonder, and he has not come back. He wasn't transmitting video, but I hope he comes back. If he comes back, I'm going to jump to him because I've never had a call in from someone I know or someone I know outside of Pocketnow on the U review, and that was a first, so that was lovely. But now he's gone, so now I have to pick someone else, and that's all right. That's all right. We don't mind that.
He realized it was that old Fisher guy, and he backed out.
Yeah, he was like,
I don't want to talk to this guy.
I know this guy from high school. I didn't like him then either. Never mind. Anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and hop on over here to the name I'm going to have the most difficulty with, and I'm sorry for it in advance. Abhishek, can you unmute your mic and join us? Yeah, I know. It's a good smile there.
That's a smile that says, you just slaughtered my name.
That's exactly right. This is from Mr. AppBrain, and we recognize that drum set from days past. Welcome back to the U-Review.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Well, you're always welcome. Was it the Pocketnow Live or the U-Review that you joined last time? I don't remember.
No, the live.
It was the Pocketnow Live. Okay. Is this your first time on the
U-Review?
U-Review?
Yeah, the final. Yeah, I guess.
Cool. Well, welcome. We keep things kind of light and fast on the U-Review, and
wait, just a sec. My name is Abhishek. For when I come next time.
So it's Abhishek.
It's Abhishek.
Abhishek.
All right, that's about as close as I can get with my lazy American mouth.
Abhishek.
Hey, get that Abhishek fellow back on here. No, I will do my best, but I have no guarantees I'll pronounce it any better next time. What device are we calling in about today? The Moto X, the Lumia 1020, or the Xperia Z Ultra?
1020.
1020 is the popular device of the day. Well, here it is again, and I am ready for your question or comment, sir.
Okay, my first question is that there have been some cases I was reading, it was reported on Pocketnow too, which says that the 1020 is not, so they were disputing the 1020's title as the king of the smartphone camera segment, saying that 808 is better, this is better, that is better. Just few and far between, but still, is that true, or is there any truth in this?
So there has been there has been a giant wave of adulation that has followed this phone because it is the best camera you can get, certainly on Windows Phone and pretty much on any smartphone ever. The only exception to that, really, is the PureView 808, the original that preceded it. And we have a very enthusiastic commenter who visits Pocketnow very often and comments on all the 1020 posts, who backs up his claims that the 808 beats the pants off the 1020 with hard data and comparisons, and it appears, to my eye, that the 808 does indeed school the 1020 in image quality, yes.
But is it really a smartphone?
Right, that's the thing.
It runs Symbian, and it's also 3 inches thick.
Right, so this is, I'm going to lock the camera on me for a second. This is the 808. It is, we know what it looks like, but just to refresh your memory, it is a monster, even compared to the 1020, which we've been calling kind of a monstrous warthog. The 808 is a real brick. It runs an operating system that is dead for all intents and purposes as far as future development. So it's not a phone that anybody would buy, so it's not really relevant.
It's thicker than my Note 2 and the Lumia 1020 stacked on top of one another. I mean, is that really logical?
Right. So there's two schools of thought here. One is, listen, it doesn't matter what the 808 has a better camera. Anyone who wants the most excellent camera available is going to get a 1020 because it runs on a relevant platform, and nobody ever really bought the 808, particularly in the States. The other school of thought is, yeah, but Nokia is getting away with saying that this is the best camera ever, when in fact they really made a lot of compromises coming from this phone to this phone. So it depends, I guess, on what kind of mood you're in. But I think, and we'll have a comparison coming up next week between these two phones, where you'll be able to see for yourself some of our results that we get. But I don't think there's any question that the 808 is a better camera, sadly.
Yeah, but
I know. No, I agree.
I could rant about this.
Me too. I know it, and it is a little annoying when it's like every post. It's like somebody's got an axe to grind, and that's all right. But whatever. So Abhishek, hopefully I've answered your question to some degree, but you will have to wait for the comparison to see our full results there.
Yep, I guess I was just worried because I was thinking of getting 1020 after I finish my boards.
We sort of lost you in there a little bit. You were thinking of getting the 1020 for yourself, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think you should be discouraged from that unless you plan. That's the thing. That's the danger that these comments can do, because unless you're planning on getting the 808 instead of the 1020, it's totally irrelevant. The 1020 still destroys any other camera phone out there. I mean, it's a distracting argument that really, unless you're planning on getting an 808, doesn't make any sense. Who's unwrapping a chocolate? If you're in the chat and you don't have your mic muted, please do mute it. Are there any other questions on the 1020 you have, Abhishek?
On the 1020, no. But I wanted to ask you one thing about the Moto X.
Sure, we have about 1 minute left, so please.
Yeah, the Moto X now. I wanted to know, like, what do you think of the customizable, the customizable look and feel? Because does it actually matter what the phone looks like? As long as it performs well, is it really that important how it looks like?
I think that you have stumbled across one of the great divides in smartphone discussions. It's form over function or function over form. I don't know how Taylor feels about this. I want to ask him, but I will say, yeah, it matters a lot to me. I just said this in an article about the LG G2. I'm a pretty shallow guy, man. I like my phones to look good. I like them to be the color I want. I don't want to be carrying the same thing everyone else is. Maybe that makes me, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that makes me a super hipster. But yeah, to me, I'll even sacrifice a little bit in performance if I can have a device that looks and feels the way I want. So that's very important to me. Taylor, I feel like, has a different opinion.
No, well, sort of. I don't care if everybody is carrying the same phone. I have an iPhone, and I carry it from time to time. Probably won't now because I have the 1020, but there is this thing that people say that a phone is greater than the sum of its parts. And a lot of that generally has to do with the design, the build quality, and everything. Like the ergonomics, so yes, how a phone is designed, how it looks, its color, how it feels in the hand, all of that matters to me. I had a very heated discussion with a friend. He is he actually has an HTC One, and he's mad that he listened to me and got the HTC One over the Galaxy S4, and he said mainly because it's plastic, and that's why he wants it, and I can't wrap my head around it. So it's really just preference. It really is. Yeah. I prefer a phone that if I pay $600 or $700 for a phone, I'd like one that feels like it's worth $600 or $700, not like someone melted down a Happy Meal toy and made one out of that plastic. So.
So I feel like, Abhishek, you are definitely on the function over form side of the equation, perhaps. And the beautiful thing is there's plenty of phones out there that have a lot of great performance, and they kind of look like they look fine, but they're not doing it much special in terms of build. So
phones that have faces only mothers could love.
It's exactly right, exactly. So Abhishek, I think we are going to have to move on, but I love your questions, and I will ask for your score if you don't mind. You can do just the Lumia 1020, or you can give us a score for the Lumia 1020 and the Moto X if you prefer.
I'd score the 1020 an 8.2.
An 8.2 on the Lumia 1020. Did you get that, Taylor?
Yeah.
Very, very nice. And I'm sorry, did I hear you correctly? You're not going to you don't have a score for the Moto X at all, or is still thinking about that?
Yeah, I'm just a sec. I actually lost my connection. I can't hear you guys properly. Can you hear me?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was just saying. I was just making sure that you did not have a score for the Moto X. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't want to score the Moto X.
Yeah, I don't care about that. No problem. Abhishek, thank you very much for calling in. Thank you for your intelligent questions as always. And if I seem to recall, your brother is the drummer, so I hope you get some sleep in between all that drumming.
Thanks. Actually, it's already past midnight. It's 2:14 p.m. So 2:14 a.m. in India.
Wow. Well, and it sounds like you got a pretty sweet start going off to your weekend. So keep partying hard, man.
Only this time.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye. All right.
All right.
Yeah, how you doing over there? You feel neglected? Nobody cares about the Z Ultra today.
Or the Shield.
Or the Shield. Nobody cares about the Shield. Yeah, we do have an Nvidia Shield, everybody, just to let you know.
Yeah. This sucker right here, which I forgot that it had removable faceplates, and when that fell off the first time, I freaked out. I'm like, oh gosh! But yeah, it's a magnetic faceplate.
That is awesome. I actually didn't know that, and I've spent some hands-on time with the Nvidia Shield at PAX, so I should have.
Way to pay attention, Michael.
You know, it's a handheld gaming console, man. Unless it's a Retro Pro Duo portable, I think that's what I have.
Running WebOS.
Running WebOS, exactly right, exactly right. So speaking of WebOS, Taylor, I know it's your turn to pick, but can I ask you to pick somebody for me?
Sure.
Is that getting around? Is that not, That's all right. It's our show. We do what we want, right?
Yeah.
Taylor, why don't you go ahead and see if Dave Shaka is available? He's third from the left there. I want to ask Dave if he's got a video available. And if he does not, then we will make an exception.
Is this your friend?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. David.
Oh, Dave's at work. So 15 minutes to go in work, so maybe he'll be able to join us afterwards. So you're in listen-only mode then, Dave. Is that correct? Watchers, I'm interacting with Dave in the chat. And yeah, okay. Well, Shake, that's good, because I felt guilty when you dropped off before. I was like, oh, God, I didn't get to him. That's sad. Anyway, keep listening, and we will proceed on. It's just so wonderful to have someone I actually know in the real world listening to the U-Review. This is great.
Yeah, nobody in the real world knows what I do for a living.
No, well, nobody.
You're
even
that
after I tell them,
nerd kid.
Yeah, it's like, what's a tech blogger? Do you write about the technology? Yeah. Let's Taylor, pick who you want to pick.
My job to people in the real world is, you play with phones for a living. You must be a nerd, and that's pretty much it.
Why don't you go out and do some real work with asphalt?
Yeah.
Come on. That's why you got hung up in traffic this morning on the way to the podcast. There's too many cement.
I was doing my other job. I work for a cement company. I drive a cement truck. Should we go with someone I guess everyone in here is regulars.
Just pull the trigger, buddy. Doesn't matter to me.
All right, let's do Hayato. I haven't talked to him since the live. It's been a long time.
Not just
Hayato. Regulars. And I'm only choosing you because I know that you're going to ask me questions about the Xperia Z Ultra and the Nvidia Shield.
I also want to say, Hayato, that's a killer haircut you got there, dude.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you got it all shaved off or cut. I need a haircut too. But anyway, what device are you gonna please me with questions about?
I don't have anything to talk about with the Nvidia Shield.
All right. There's not much to talk about. There's like 5 games.
Right.
Oh, hey, there's a yellow Lumia.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. When did you get this? I didn't know that you were in possession of a yellow Nokia Lumia.
It came out.
Yeah, I knew he had one because he was tweeting me about the camera grip. You wouldn't be looking for a camera grip unless you had a 1020.
Ah, nice detective work there, Taylor Martin. Wow. All right, so wow, geez, I wasn't expecting this. I thought I was going to get a break for a second. Oh, wait, Taylor, you have a 1020 too. I'm going to lean back. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So what questions do you have? Anything?
I just kind of wanted to ask about how you guys feel about the hardware side of the phone, other than the camera itself, compared to other Nokia phones. Because I just spent a couple weeks with the Lumia 925 before I got this, and I like the Lumia 925 body at least a lot better than the 1020.
Well, yeah, I haven't used a Nokia device since the 900, and the 900 was very similar in design. It was smaller, obviously, but it felt very similar. It had a little more of a rough finish to it than the 1020, but I feel the 1020 feels a little more hollow. I don't know if you would agree with me on that. It feels like when you tap. Maybe not hollow, but like when you plug it in and different things, it just feels different. I can't put a finger on it.
No, you're right. It feels like they knew the camera module was going to be big and beefy. It's going to be a big meatball in the middle of the phone, so they made the rest of it. They just withdrew everything possible from the rest of it, so you get this feeling of this kind of interesting imbalance. I just didn't mean to flip everybody off, but like there's no way you could possibly balance this phone in anything resembling a normal manner,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's unique, right? I mean, it's not a feeling I get from anything else out there. As a matter of fact, I said this in the review, but it feels a lot like holding a Galaxy camera almost, or maybe even the Galaxy S4 Zoom Not to the degree that we're talking about here, but you know, it's that. Hayato, you got that top-heavy kind of feel going on there.
I much prefer this over the Galaxy camera, but it is definitely top heavy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm carrying a camera like a NEX and putting it to your ear. It's it's not that bad.
So but, it's right. But it's funny. Like I don't know if I necessarily expected it to be to feel quite like this. I mean, it is an Oreo-sized thing on the back of the phone, and when you it's unlike anything I've held before. But so I could understand why you would like the 925 over this from a form factor perspective.
Yeah, it's but mostly it's the way that the 925 just has the aluminum band around the sides, and I know that there's plastic on the back, but because of that soft touch plastic with the aluminum, where your fingers are actually going to be feeling it, it feels great in the hand. It looks great from the front.
Yeah, I'm jealous of you because Anton did the review on the 925 for us, and I know the 925 is retail available now, but I never got one, so I've actually never handled a 925. I should go to the T-Mobile store and look at it, but I can see how it would feel slightly more premium. But the 925, to me, you turn around back on the 1020. Okay, you got camera module, and that's about all you've got. It maintains the old Lumia design style. The 925 seems to be really confused about what it wants to do with its backside. You got that big camera lens, and you've got something smaller underneath it. You got like a weirdo grill. There's penetrations for other stuff. It just doesn't. It looks unfinished to me. Hayato's like whatever. I'm just
right. No, I agree.
Sorry, we got a latency issue there. So
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Hayato's working on like a dial-up connection. Where are you at?
Yeah, we can't hear. You get cut out. You're like, I'm. So.
Yeah, I feel like I recently had for last week I was in New York and I had like no connectivity whatsoever, and like I feel like it's that kind of thing is going on here.
He's tethering on his on Edge or something.
Yeah, Hatter, are you on that T-Mobile 4G? What's going on?
Well, I was at LTE in my apartment on my one, but not going so well.
No, you might be getting okay speeds there, but I think we got a latency issue. Before we lose you altogether, why don't you? I'm so glad you have a 1020 because I mean your scores are. The score is going to be eminently more valuable in this particular half hour. What would you give it? 0 to 10. What's your evaluation there?
I really ended up liking Windows Phone a lot more than I thought I would, so I like that about it. The camera's awesome. I would probably give it 8.5 to 9 out of 10.
You gotta give us a real value. See, I can't. We're not allowed to skimp on specificity when we put review scores up. You got to pick a number, brother.
Give it somewhere between a 5 and a 10.
Between 8.7 then.
8.7. All right.
8.7. Very nice. The Lumia 1020 is doing a nice job here. Taylor, you got that spec down?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our average right now is 8.6 for that.
Man, yeah. No spoilers. No spoilers. We do the math at the end.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Wait, you said we weren't doing any math. You hate math.
Hayato, because that's right, I do, but not in the name of science. Hayato, before we let you go, and Devin is free to chime in on this as well. Any feeling on the Moto X or the Xperia? Nah, the Xperia Z Ultra. Why can't I remember the name of that thing?
I can't remember it, and I've had it for 5 days.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah, I actually just wrote a little post about the Xperia Z Ultra on the site yesterday. I like the idea of it. I'm not sure that I could ever use it because it's so big in Taylor's hands. I have smaller hands than Taylor.
Let's do a little size comparison. This is the Note 2, and this is the Z Ultra.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. It is
God.
so big.
Absurd.
It is so big,
man.
It's like a Nexus 7. It really, really is. It is closer in size to the Nexus 7, which I don't know if I can. It's closer in size to the Nexus 7 than any other phone. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much the most ridiculous thing ever. I look forward to reading your review.
No, you don't.
I do.
I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. You know, it's going to be a good time. Hayato, Devin, thank you for joining us. Listen, work on that ping, brother. Find what's going on between you and our friend, the cellular network. We gotta see your face clearly. We had a better streaming experience when you were in your car on a lunch break. What the hell's going on over there in the middle of America? It's funny. It's like waiting for a volley. It's like waiting for Telegram volley times. It's like really fun. Guys, yeah. The pong. Yeah, there we go. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us as always. I hope you have a nice weekend. We'll see you on Twitter where the info flows freely and quickly.
All right. I'll see you.
All right, later.
Catch you guys later. All right. That was a good time. Hayato and Devin, always nice to see. And I think I'm going to choose someone I have not spoken with before to move us on. We're coming up on the hour mark, so we'll go with a couple more guests on the air here today. If you're just joining us, please remember to mute your mic on the way in. And please remember we're confining our discussion to Lumia 1020, Motorola X, or Moto X, and whatever that Sony thing is called. Xperia Z Ultra. For the love.
I think the problem you're having is because you reviewed the Tablet Z, the
Xperia
Tablet Z, so you're wanting to say like Ultra Z or something, which would have been a cooler name anyway. Ultra Z.
Now, Taylor, Dave Shaka makes a really great point in the chat that I said I was going to lean back for that last one, and then I just kind of like trounced your hosting duties. So
yeah, Hayato's like 1020, and you're like smack.
I didn't mean to do that. I apologize. So why don't I would like to talk to Agustin. And I wonder, Taylor, if you might welcome him to the show.
Yeah, Agustin and I have talked. Did he just drop out?
Yeah, I said his name and dude bailed.
Yeah, we have Abhishek is back. We're gonna have to ask him to leave as well.
Oh yeah, Abhishek, is he back? I don't see him.
Well, he's not at the chair, but I don't know if he ever left.
Oh, you're right. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll work on that. I'm just gonna go ahead and gonna go ahead and boot him. I do not also want to block him. No. Yeah, that was my bad. Okay, Abhishek's gone, and we liked his input. But yeah, so let's see if has our target returned. He has not. All right, we're gonna go with somebody else. Taylor, you go ahead.
However, okay, so I'm gonna have to ask you. How about I ask you to select someone, and then since I'll return the favor.
Yeah, that would be wonderful if we could.
Because we haven't had a lot about it. So Zach, I believe, has a question about the Z Ultra, and so does Kelvin. But we might get to you in a bit. All right, so Zach.
Hi. I have actually questions for all three. I wrote them down.
Okay, nice.
So my first question is, could you compare the Z Ultra to the Nexus 7 in specs and size?
All right, so specs is quite simple. The display is larger on the Nexus 7. It's larger with a higher resolution, higher density. Your battery is larger in the Nexus 7. You get a 40-something milliamp hour battery. I can't remember. This one is 3050.
I think it's...
no, it's 3950. That's what it is. This is 3950. This is 3050. So you get 900 more milliamp hours. S4 Pro, which is actually Snapdragon 600. So like the Crate, there's a dispute going on about that, but it's a Crate CPU clocked at 1.9 gigahertz. This is a 2.2 gigahertz Snapdragon 800, which is much more powerful. LTE support, obviously, this one doesn't, but LTE support. Eventual LTE support, and same RAM, and I think that's about it on specs, unless I'm missing something. Cameras, 5.8. I don't want to take a picture with either of them because they're so big, but
size?
That gets used as size.
That's not that big. That's an enormous phone. That is like, I picture someone like me talking on it. This is an iPad 2 right here. Hello.
Yeah, it's really big, and the thing is, like, there are a lot of phone applications that won't install on the Tablet Z, or not the Tablet Z, the Z Ultra. Yeah,
it's hard, right?
There are phone applications that will not install on the Z Ultra because it's not really a phone. It has a tablet DPI, which is dots per inch. I don't know what the exact DPI is. I probably need to install an application to find out. But the DPI is so low that it actually registers as a tablet for many applications. So Photoshop Touch. They have Photoshop Touch for tablets and Photoshop Touch for smartphones. You cannot install Photoshop Touch for smartphones on the Z Ultra, but you can install the tablet version. So there are a lot of interesting things about it that allude to the fact that it's not really a phone; it's a tablet with an earpiece.
You think we're going to be? I think we're going to be seeing more of that as time goes on, and smartphones and tablets, like the line continues to bleed between them, and it's like some apps are optimized for one device and not the other. I mean, it's like, yeah. Anyway, Zach, sorry to interrupt. Zach, continue.
Okay. Number 2 would be, how does the camera on the Lumia 1020 compare to a mirrorless or DSLR camera?
All right, that's tough. I haven't done an actual comparison, but I will say this: the white balance on the 1020 is very finicky. It's either spot on, or it's way off. And the other, you're going to get a higher resolution image, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a better image. Your Micro Four Thirds or my NEX, which is not Micro Four Thirds, it's its own little NEX brand. It's
mirrorless camera.
We'll just say mirrorless, Micro Four Thirds, or your SLRs. You're going to get a much better picture without having to adjust your shutter speed quite so drastically because the sensor is much bigger.
And you're not going to get as much noise as a result on those.
Right.
Well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're not getting DSLR quality in a phone, but you're getting really, really close to it. Closer than we've ever been before, I guess, is the best way to put it.
And would I be? I'm wondering. I'm kind of, well, not really in the market for a smartphone because my dad will not buy me one because I'm not, Okay, don't need to explain that. But anyway, yeah. And also, is the Lumia 1020 good for me because I'm a heavy Google user. I use Google everything. I've got 3 Gmail accounts.
It works really well with Gmail, but if you're using other Google services, Keep, Drive, Hangouts, Google Plus, if you're using all of that stuff, it's probably not the best choice unless you have an Android tablet or something on the side. So if you're a heavy Google user, Windows Phone is not for you, and that's why I'm struggling to really use it full time because I use so many Google services.
Okay. And this is my last of 3 questions. Is the Moto X worth it for a power user?
So yeah, Zach, the Moto X is getting an undeserved reputation for not having enough cojones to run some really cool stuff. But I will admit I haven't. I'm not a heavy smartphone gamer, so I haven't loaded this up with some crazy like 3D gaming title. But it performs well in Ice Storm, and it performs well in Ice Storm Extreme. This is a custom chipset. It is not. It's getting a bad reputation for kind of no reason. The display, even though it looks small because the device is petite, is actually 4.7 inches. It's 720p. If you have a problem with 720p as opposed to 1080p, it won't be the device for you. But really, no, man, it is a solid little phone, and I'll take. I would be hard pressed to find somebody whose needs exceeded this phone's capabilities. It's not what I would think of as a power user device because it doesn't have micro SD, it doesn't have a removable battery, but those things aside, it's a capable little guy, and I will look forward to seeing how it does in the real world.
Yeah, but is it worth it for the price? Like, specs for price, it's kind of a rip-off.
Well, you got to remember, the price is inflated partially because it's assembled here in the United States. If that means something to you, then you'll pay a little extra for it. At least that's Google's hope. Yes, could you get a phone with equivalent specs for the same price on contract, or better specs? Absolutely, you can. It's just a question then of what you're really shopping for. Go ahead, Ted.
Again, the phone is greater than the sum of its parts, which warrants a larger price. So it's not necessarily specifications alone. Granted, I feel that there should be some sort of price cut because it's using older technology, at least in chipset and GPU. But that aside, I think the price is justified.
Okay. I don't know if there's anything else to say.
There definitely is, Zach. We have to get some input from you, brother. We need. We've talked about the 1020. We've talked about them all, actually. Give us a score on each one of these, if you will, from 1 to 10.
Okay, Xperia Z Ultra. Well, I'm thinking maybe for me, since it's way too big for me. I mean, that thing is the size of my head. I mean, like, it's it's more than a third of an iPad, and I would have my Kindle Fire out from last time, but it won't charge. I briefed it or something.
That's fine. Let's stick to the Z.
Anyway, it's like almost that size, but anyway, so the Xperia Z Ultra maybe 7.8 or 8. It has amazing specs. And in the same question, I talk about the Nexus 7, so I will mention that's a 9.0 at least.
And what of the 1020 and the X?
The 1020, I'd rate it an 8.0, and then X maybe 7.8 or 8, somewhere in there.
Jay, which one is it? Let's pen it down for us.
I'll give it an 8.
Okay, so I've got 888 across the board.
Is that 8 across the board?
plus Nexus 7, even though that's unofficial, but that I'm rating that a 9.
All right.
Roger that. All right. Well, we got the scores marked down. Zach, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. It's nice to have you on, and thanks. Hopefully, you get a smartphone soon.
Yeah, tried saying that convincing my dad. It's not going to work.
Bring him on next time. We'll talk to him.
Serious?
We'll convince him.
No, I don't want to get involved in that. That was a joke.
I know. I'm kind of kidding. But thank you for having me.
Zach, thanks for joining us again. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye. Take care.
Taylor, I think you and I are down to the last guest on the show. We got to close this one up. So, would you care to right a wrong that was made by technology a few minutes ago?
Yes, Agustin.
Hi guys, sorry.
He chose you and you disappeared.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome to the show.
Sorry guys, it's just that I have a phone that I have to answer, and if it rings, I have to go, and it just rang in the same second. So I'll be short, and if the phone rings, then I will mute. Okay? So, but I tell you my question. It's sort of a philosophical question. Okay? So I was reading your intro, and it was about the LG G2 with the Snapdragon 800 coming in the picture, and this is your work, and this is my field of interest and hobby, but I sort of start sensing that these new devices coming out with greater and greater specs, they don't influence me the same way anymore. I feel that when the HTC One X came out, that was magical, even though the phone was not that magical. But then the Galaxy S3. But now, just the one super device follows the other, and I feel that the spec sheets and the improvement of them is a bit pointless. So. The direction must change, and so I have two questions. One is, do you feel this in your work, in your everyday work? And the second question is, if you want to relate it to one of these phones that you are having right now, then maybe you could relate it to the Moto X, which is a phone that doesn't want to do the spec war. So one could hope that, maybe the next new thing is an all-around little phone that can do everything, not bad at everything.
That's wonderful. That's what I would normally call a pretty broad question and statement combination, but it's perfect for this episode of the show because we're sitting here with three devices that run the gamut, and we're sitting here with three devices that try to overcome that obsession with specs, right? We have the Lumia 1020, which is built not to impress on the spec sheet, but to blow it out on the camera, and it largely succeeds. It has the best camera you can find on almost any smartphone. And then we have the Z Ultra with Taylor there,
which is just the biggest, baddest of everything that doesn't necessarily mean it's optimized for anything.
Right, but it also, it's got some interesting aspects to it, such as, I believe it's waterproof, right?
Yeah, IP55 and 58 dustproofing and water resistance, yes.
Okay, so yeah, so you've got that element to it, and of course its sheer size is ridiculous, but it's doing something different, and it's light and thin, and there's that aspect to it. And then we have the Moto X, which, you know, as you said, Augustin, it's refusing to play the specs game. It's saying, listen, we're going to cobble together a whole bunch of disparate elements to create the experience that we want to deliver, and we're going to focus on a couple different things. So, I think that to answer your first part of your question first, and Taylor, I'll ask him to chime in on this. Yeah, it's scary to see the spec wars just kind of becoming all about what's on the sheet, and it's like, oh my God, yeah, this is just another processor, a couple bumps in gigahertz, and 3 gigs of RAM. Well, that's exciting. What the hell do I care, right? That's scary because this industry is not in danger of becoming boring, but if it keeps going in that direction, I mean, how much more entertaining can a pissing match really be? So I think we're sitting here in this episode though with 3 examples of phones made by manufacturers who understand that they have to differentiate based on stuff other than specs. So I'm hopeful. I'm left hopeful with these 3 devices for the future, not scared of it. What do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, I'm kind of to the same point as Agustin. I'm uninterested by a lot of new devices. If you've followed my stuff recently, you know that I'm not really excited about the LG G2. I wasn't excited about the S4. I was a little excited about the HTC One, and it didn't necessarily play the spec game as hard as others. 4-megapixel camera being part of that whole reasoning behind the HTC One. The Z Ultra. I love big phones. That's absurd. The Z Ultra is absurd. It's too big. The specifications do nothing for me because it's above and beyond what I'm ever going to use. So I realized a long time ago, maybe 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, that specifications on modern smartphones then were above and beyond anything I'd ever need. Mm-hmm. That's one reason I still carry the Note 2. Specifications aren't the greatest, but it works. It does everything I need it to do. That's why I want the Moto X. Its specs aren't great, but it does everything that I need it to do and above and beyond. Touchless control, to me, is amazing. I haven't even used it, and I can't wait to, because it's something that should have been done a very long time ago. My phone should listen to me. If my computer can, so should my phone. You know, and there's this whole thing. All these manufacturers, and Motorola was spot on in saying that smartphones are more powerful, but they're not any smarter than they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They're not.
Yeah.
So the manufacturer making a phone contextually smarter than previous ones without improving the horsepower or what's under the hood, by all means, you get my I don't know, kudos.
Yeah, sure.
Pat on the back from me.
And Motorola is the prime example of it, because and I should have actually let in with that. And Augustin, you know, they basically said what you said. They said, and what Taylor just said. They said phones have been getting more powerful year after year after year, but they haven't been using that power intelligently. And until you have a phone that understands where it is a lot and understands what situation it's in and is contextually aware, it's not going to be impressive. It's just going to be impressive in the same way that a muscle car is, you know, or like a race car in terms of speed and all this kind of stuff. And who really cares? I really do think we're starting to go in the right direction, but I think other manufacturers have yet to key into that.
Can I make a parallel that I didn't want to make, but I will? An analogy. It's kind of like my car. I don't want to talk about my car all that much, but
good.
Everybody gives it hell because it's not the fastest car ever. It looks a lot faster than it actually is, and that's the truth. The car was not designed to be fast. The car was designed to be fast around a track, to be able to be fun to drive. It was about the experience, and that's one reason I like a Moto X. For a long time, cars were about having the most horsepower, being able to launch faster than anything else, and just putting as much crazy, nonsensical stuff into an engine and launching it off the line and hitting 300 miles an hour. But then you come up on a turn, and you can do absolutely nothing but slam on the brakes. And it's kind of that. I don't need a phone that just can absolutely just blow the doors off everything. I want something that can be fun to use, and it's all about the experience. So I quit caring about horsepower in cars. I quit caring about clock speeds in phones, and more about experience. And how those manufacturers optimize that experience and what's in the phone.
I think that pretty well sums it up there. And Augustin, are we in the neighborhood of what kind of response you were looking for? You got us into philosophical mode, and I fear that we talked your ear off.
No, I think you answered the question. That was very good answers. My only comment to that is that the Moto X for me fails to be this all-round phone. At least when I read your camera evaluations.
Yeah.
I don't think that the all-round phone can have a bad camera.
Yeah, I cannot disagree. The camera, on the hardware side, that camera should not have been a compromise, and it is. It's a delight to use in software, but the results, as you saw, are middling. So that I agree. That's a very indisputable failure. So, but aside from that, what's nice is that there are people out there who just need to take a shot that they can put on Instagram and put a filter on it, and it'll look pretty good, and it'll work in that regard. I'm not that person though, so for me, it would be very difficult for me to carry the Moto X as my daily driver because of that underwhelming camera. So you're right, and that's a point we don't remember as often when we talk about its cool features. And I thank you for the reminder, even though it makes me a little sad.
Yeah, the camera is probably the most disappointing thing about that phone.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's just exciting how nobody really manages to make the perfect Android phone. I mean, if you take the iPhone, I mean, I know it's no discussion, but really, it's like Taylor says, good at everything, really good at everything. I still don't really have that Android phone that really is good at everything the same way. Always some issue comes in somewhere. I don't know.
No, you're right. There's always some form of compromise, and yeah, it's always difficult to wholeheartedly recommend an Android phone to a wide swath of people. I mean, I recommend Android phones all the time to people I know and my friends and stuff like that, but it's tailored because of my knowledge of what they use it for. People who want a lot of features are going to want a Galaxy S4. People who want an aesthetically beautiful device are going to want an HTC One, etc. But the Moto X, it gets very close to being that phone. It's like, it's the Android phone for everybody, but it's not because of that camera. So you're right. But we do have to wrap it up, Augustin. So I want to ask for if you would be so kind as to contribute your score. And we now have enough scores for all these devices, so you can pick the one you want to score. I assume it's going to be the Moto X, though.
Okay. Well, actually, yes. Well, I would give the Moto X an 8, and had without the software features that would be a 7. But with it's always on voice recognition, it comes up to an 8. But I wouldn't give a lot more than that.
Understood. Well, that's an 8 out of 10, and that is a solid response. It's a little higher than I thought you would go. I feel like I get the impression you're being a generous guest.
No need to be negative. You have to love the phones for what they are.
It's true. Well, Augustin, thank you so much for calling in. And where are you coming in from today?
Well, I'm in Denmark, and I'm actually at work. I have a night shift for a doctor, so if the phone rings, I have to answer that. So
night shift. That's excellent. Well, thank you for devoting some of your night shift to us, and thanks for joining us for the latest on the U review. And we'll hopefully see you at the next one.
Yes, I thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Well, Taylor, I think you and I have things to do, don't we?
Go see Elysium.
Oh, nice. I might actually do that as well. My girlfriend and I
IMAX.
Hanging. Oh, an IMAX.
Dude, there's an IMAX a half mile from my apartment.
You're just like a baller, aren't you? You're just going to do whatever. Guys, really, we thank you so much for joining us. People in the ribbon down below who we didn't get to, we're very sorry, but we're out of time this time around. We will try and have a U review every month, as we promised. Sorry to make you wait 2 months for this one, but I do want to thank you, everyone who's currently here, and everyone who's already signed off. Before we go, Taylor, how are we looking on the scoreboard? Have you done any mathematics?
I did some earlier. I'll need to update some numbers for the 1020, but the Xperia Z Ultra got 2 votes.
Xperia Z Ultra got two amazing votes. And what did we...
8 and 8. We lost your audio, by the way, or maybe I just lost your
because audio. I started typing. Am I done? Am I back?
You're back.
The Z Ultra got an 8 out of 2 scores. That is hilarious. I really thought more people were going to ask about that, and maybe we just didn't get to them. But, well, all right.
The Moto X got 3. It got an 8, an 8, and a 9, which puts it at like a 8.7.
Yeah, that sounds... It's about in the right. Sounds like it's about in the neighborhood, right?
8.3, I was wrong.
8.3? Wow,
yeah, it would have been 8.7 if it were 9 and 9 and 8. But the other one...
You and I aren't steely-eyed missile men in NASA. Go ahead.
I always double-check. Measure twice, cut once, right?
Yeah, that's what Zipcar tells me.
But the other way, I measure once and cut twice.
Yeah, and what about the 1020? How are we looking there?
I do maths.
You have to do maths?
Yeah.
All right, well, while Taylor Martin does some maths, I'm going to let everybody know where to find us on the internet. That is going to do it for us today. Right as soon as Taylor gives us the score, follow us on social media. Taylor is at Casper Tech. I'm at Captain Two Phones as always. You can follow Pocketnow at Pocketnow. You can also find us at Facebook and Google+, and Instagram, importantly. If you want to hear our voices some more, we actually had a wonderfully long podcast this morning where we answered something like 16 or 17 listener mails in a row, pieces of listener mail. That Pocketnow weekly podcast is up, so you can carry us through into the weekend. Thank you for being patient with that as we waited through LG and Motorola events. And if you have a question, a topic, a suggestion for the U-Review, email us at ureview@pocketnow.com. One of these days I will get to checking that inbox. And Taylor, do we have a number yet?
Yes, we do.
And the number on the Lumia 1020 is
8.5666666. So 8.6.
8.6 on the Lumia 1020. So what is that? Lumia 1020 8.6, Moto X 8.3, Z Ultra 8. Well, we have generous viewers and generous reviewers, and that's so nice. So, guys, let us know. Like I say, email us, ureview@pocketnow.com. Do you like the numeric scoring? We appreciate you doing a little bit of work for us as we head into the weekend. So, thank you for joining us, and thank you, Taylor, for being an excellently capable co-host. And we will see y'all We will see y'all next time.